Hey everybody, welcome to Hidden Horror. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate that. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Hidden Horror. How are you guys doing today? Well, today I'm here. I want to let you know that the trial date for Colin Gray has been set. Excuse me. Colin Gray is the father of the mass shooter Colt Gray. If you can recall, in the beginning of the school year starting in 2024-2025, on September 4th, 2024, Colt Gray went to his high school, Apalachee High School in Georgia, and committed a mass shooting. They have him on video. Well, part of his charges involved the deaths of 4 victims, okay? And the 4 victims included 2 of his peers, 2 other students that were both 14 years old, and then 2 teachers. Well, one was a teacher and a coach. So let's remember their names now. 1 second. Excuse me. So let me get it right. The victims were 14-year-old Mason Schermerhorn, 14-year-old Christian Angulo. Then you have 53-year-old Cristina Irimie, and then we have 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall. He was the math teacher and football coach. Excuse me. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening now. We don't really have an update on Colt Gray's case and how it's proceeding through the legal system. But his case is moving forward. The trial has been set for September 8th, 2025. So we literally have about a 1-year period where his life has completely changed due to this mass shooting. It'll be just about 1 year since the mass shooting. There were other victims too that were injured. He's not getting charged. Colt is not being charged. Well, I don't want to mix it up. Colin Gray, his charges, let's just go through the article. I don't want to mess it up. And let me pull up a picture of Colin Gray. My apologies. Okay. That is Colin Gray, Colt Gray's father. The article is coming from onlineathens.com. It's dated May 4th, 2025, and is written by Wayne Ford. Excuse me. Barrow County Superior Court Judge Nicholas Prim this week signed an order setting September 8th as the trial date for Colin Gray, the father of the 14-year-old youth charged with killing 2 students, 2 teachers, and wounding 9 others at Apalachee High School. The mass shooting occurred September 4th at the high school in Winder, where the suspect, Colt Gray, was a 9th grade student. Colin Gray, 54, gave his young son the AR-15 style rifle as a Christmas gift, according to court records. He faces a 29-count indictment that includes charges of second-degree murder and reckless conduct. Excuse me. I do want to say this. I did review Colin Gray's preliminary hearing. There is a lot of information there. I would suggest you go onto the Hidden Horror Facebook page, YouTube channel, because it would be a lot quicker and easier to find it. There is a playlist for Colt Gray, and within that playlist, it covers the preliminary hearing for Colin Gray. And when I tell you, you find out a lot of details that is not getting picked up so much in the news and talked about. I'll give you a couple examples. Um, there were some issues leading up to the mass shooting. We know about the infamous police knocking on Mr. Colin Gray's door about a year prior to the mass shooting, due to that tip from the FBI where allegedly Colt Gray said that he wanted to do a mass shooting. At that time, Mr. Colt Gray was in middle school. So we know about that. We've seen the police body cam on that, but there's so much other stuff in the preliminary hearing. For example, Colt Gray had something of like a shrine to these mass shootings. He really followed them. He wanted to learn about them. He wanted to learn what kind of weapon did they use, what kind of tactical gear did they have, how many victims were there, et cetera, et cetera. There was also information about his mental health. He had told his grandmother allegedly that, if I was to do something really bad, would you still love me? There was some information about him having issues with his mom and dad and kind of being aggressive and angry in the weeks leading up to the mass shooting. There were writings allegedly in the basement in this room where he really hung out, and it talked a lot about the mass shootings, and there were some drawings and things like that. What that was just setting out. So check out the videos on the preliminary hearing. Just a lot of information there. Okay, so let's continue. A trial date for Colt Gray on numerous murder and aggravated assault charges has not been set, as pretrial motions are still underway. The elder Gray remains in jail, although Prim gave him a $500,000 bond in February, but the judge stipulated that 10% of the amount must be a cash bond. So he would have to come up with $50,000, and then the other $450,000 can be from a different source. Okay, let's continue. Colin Gray has been granted a change of venue for the trial, a motion that was supported by the defense team led by attorney Brian Hobbs and the prosecutors Piedmont Circus District Attorney Brad Smith and Chief Assistant Patricia Brooks. In Tuesday's order, the judge told the lawyers he wanted their pretrial motions filed by July 15th. The judge also said he wanted to see a complete witness list and the jury selection questions that each side proposes for potential jurors by August 15th. If he has a problem with any question, he would discuss those with the lawyers. The judge has not set a date for deciding on locations for the change of venue, but has told lawyers he will make a decision, which includes moving the trial to another county or bringing jurors from another county to Barrow County. The jury would be sequestered during the trial. Berry County Sheriff Judge Smith testified earlier that there are 75 deputies on the witness list from his office, and that will have an impact on his office if they must leave the county for the trial. So I have a very short video just going over what we just heard, what I just read. I like videos because they're easy to watch, they're easy to listen to. This video is by 11 Alive. It's titled Trial Date Set for Father of Accused Apalachee High School Shooter. It is less than 1 minute.
New at 11, a trial date has now been set for the father charged in the deadly mass school shooting at Apalachee High. Court records show the trial for Colin Gray will begin September 8th. He faces 29 charges, including second-degree murder, accused of providing the gun used in the shooting. His son, 14-year-old Colt Gray, is accused of opening fire inside the school last September, killing 2 students and 2 teachers. The teen's trial date has not been set, Both Colin and Colt Gray have requested to move their trials out of Barrow County. While a judge has not yet ruled on those requests, it has been decided jurors in Colin Gray's trial will not be from Barrow.
Okay. Sunshine. My apologies. I wanted to go and I really want to look at that picture of Colt Gray. So if you will allow me just a second, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm essentially done, but I just want to make an observation. The picture of Colt Gray sitting in that chair with his back to the camera. You know, I really like that picture of him because it tends to make me feel that it is consistent with what has happened and what he's going through. So I want to share my screen and I want to enlarge this picture while I talk about him. To me, when you look at these various mass shootings and the mass shooters, I feel that there is a thread there. Some of the things that I see, and I'm going to relate it to Dad, but I just want to talk very, very briefly about this. Every time I see this picture of Colt Gray, it reminds me of like a void. And I always go back to the title of this page is Hidden Horror. Well, why Hidden Horror? Why such an odd name? And it goes to the behavior of people. It goes to their mindset, and you cannot predict what another person is going to do, nor can you see how they feel. You can imagine how they feel, you can estimate, you can guess, you can kind of interpret actions, but you never can really pinpoint what another person is thinking. When I look at this picture, it just rings true to a lot of thoughts that I have when it comes to the youth and these mass shootings and how this is something that is learned. It's a learned behavior. It is a very secret, private endeavor. This person is isolated. They're young. Their mind is still developing. They're impressionable. They lack guidance. Some are angry. Some feel alone. Some feel resentment. Some feel that they are not seen. Some may feel that they are bullied, isolated, targeted, attacked, talked about, put down. And they begin to have different parts of themselves that show up. Maybe in front of mom and dad, they're still masquerading around as a child. They may be agreeable. They may not want to have conflict, so they will acquiesce to that time when they're with their parents and they're in front of them. They may be different at school. They may be different if they have friends. It will be a limited number of friends. But you have to look at what are these friends doing? What are they talking about? If they're making plans, what are the plans? If they're viewing something, if they're watching movies, if they're playing video games, what exactly is the content? And then you have what I call the secret life, the private life, that life that only intimate partners, people very close, very close friends would know. And I don't mean intimate in a sexual way. I mean people that you can trust with these ideas, these thoughts, these extreme negative thoughts. You can't tell that to everybody. You hold those close to the vest. You conceal those thoughts. You hide those thoughts because you know that what that does is take you down a dark path. You're choosing this. You're choosing it. I feel that most of these mass shooters, the amount of alone time, the isolation, how their mind has really been manipulated, how the propaganda, the information, these certain thoughts to harm, to kill, to gun down, um, it is really something that is gained over time. These interactions, these indiscretions, these times where they feel cheated out of something, treated bad, talked down to, isolated, removed from situations, bullied, target, all these things, they build a basis of foundation for the anger that they are experiencing. And when they have these thoughts, these ideas, it's a very low place, it's a very dark place, and they're defeated. Some of them don't see a way out. They can't see how they can change, how they can develop, how they can choose their own path, how they can prove people wrong. That's not what they're thinking. Some of them, I feel, to me, it is the easy way out. It's much harder to fight against wrong, to do what is right. And life is not easy. And we choose every day how we're going to live it and how we treat others. But in these cases, and when you're isolated, and when you get into these groups and you have this communication, and everybody's talking about how this person became famous, how they received notoriety, how they're, you know, in the news, in the media, but it's for something very heinous. But they're not looking at that. They're having this moment, this brief moment, if you want to call a fame of stardom, of their name in the paper, but it's for something very evil. And they're not looking ahead. They're not looking at the years ahead of them, the decades, where every aspect of their life will not be the same. They're not thinking about being confined into a room. They're not thinking about all of their freedoms being taken away. They're told when to wake up. They're told when to go to bath. They have a time when they can take a shower. Everything is scheduled, it's structured. And by them being very young, they just don't have, they understand the concept of time, but they're not forecasting out, they're not future thinking how much time this really is when they hear words like life in prison. It's a mundane way to live, day in and day out, to be taken away from society, friends, relationships, family. It is a lot to think about, a lot to process. And that is also why I feel some of the mass shooters that survive the mass shooting, they fight in court for years on different technicalities to try to get out. And in this case, with Colin Gray, I feel the lack of resources, maybe not knowing how to handle the needs of his son, maybe feeling like he was in some way connecting to Colt when he bought the gun, when he took him hunting, because those are some of the things that made him happy. He did not see the manipulation. He didn't see it. He wanted more for him. And maybe he didn't believe in counseling or therapy. Some people don't. Some people can't see the value and the benefits of talking, of sitting down and expressing your feelings, yourself, talking about your past, which led you up to the present day. Your emotions, your feelings, your challenges, your difficulties, your mistakes, your regrets. Maybe he didn't see the value in it. Maybe he couldn't see how desperate his son was. But that does not dissolve you of responsibility. Unfortunately, no one took the necessary steps to remove Colt Gray from the weapons, the bullets, and the school. Something that should have been preventable with a few actions by some of the closest people to him. Maybe it could have prevented the mass shooting. So we only have about 3 months before Colin Gray's trial begins. I believe Colin will testify. I think that his testimony will be impactful because in his case, I do not feel that it is the same level of abuse or neglect as in past cases like Ethan Crumbley's case. No. I think he was not aware of the dark place that Colt was in. He didn't know how to pull him out of it. He appeased Colt by buying the things that he liked that he later used in the mass shooting at Apalachee High School. But I do not feel that Colin, that he could see that dark place. And maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he didn't want to spend the mental energy trying to pull him out of it, getting him to therapy. He said that it was some financial issues. It was some issues with him with the health insurance. Him and Colt's mom, they were not together. And that's challenging. If you have other issues going on, they had been evicted. They had some problems. And I feel that if Colin Gray takes the stand, he will be able to tell what was happening in the years leading up to the mass shooting. Definitely the days and weeks, but the years also. They have some challenges there. I think he will testify. That's just my opinion, but thank you for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to stay safe, stay smart, stay savvy. Be well, all my friends. Take care, everybody. Bye.